EastEnders Phil Mitchell is extremely vulnerable, says Ross Kemp. In recent episodes of EastEnders, viewers watched on as Phil Mitchell attempted to take his own life. He did survive the attempt, though his mental health continues to decline as part of an ongoing storyline. In upcoming scenes, Phil will reach a mental health crisis as his symptoms worsen and he begins to hallucinate moments from the Mitchell family home in 1985. As his visions continue, Phil is a bystander to a pivotal moment in his childhood, as Daniel Delaney and Jamie Winston reprise their roles as a young Phil and Peggy Mitchell. However, in a moment that may save Phil, Grant Mitchell returns to the square. Despite being in denial of Phil's crisis, Grant acknowledges something isn't right. Kemp explained, he can see that something is going on because Phil isn't himself. But he refuses to admit it to himself. I think the way Grant reacts is representative of how a lot of people feel when someone they are close to has mental health issues. And Phil is extremely vulnerable right now. There are quite a few psychological things for Phil, like his age, his lack of self-worth, and the way he feels his usefulness and value have diminished. McFadden explained of what has brought Phil to the peak of crisis. He continued, he's had all the classic reasons that anybody would find themselves at a low point. And over the past few months, we've gone up through the gears to get to this stage of crisis. However, a couple of weeks before, Phil falls down the 8-foot pit in the Arches and badly bashes his head. So I think it becomes physiological as well. Everything has come together to take Phil to the point where he decides to take his own life. What's great about telling a storyline like this in the soap genre is that we can gently tease it apart and be very specific about that character's experience as we have the time to do that. As Grant makes a return to the square, McFadden isn't sure that his arrival helps Phil. Their relationship is unstable at the moment, he said in a new interview. It's embarrassing for Phil that Grant sees him in this state. He doesn't want anyone to see him like this, least of all Grant. Grant isn't someone he can turn to or rely on. Grant has been coming and going over the past few years, so he's not been there. When Phil needs him, he's not there. Will the brothers be able to reconcile in time to save Phil?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại bạn.